Uneasy's the head that wears a crown. Vasily Smyslov has just achieved his life's goal to reach the heights of chess and win its crown by defeating Mikhail Botvinnik, FIDE's first champion. Smyslov will be put to the test to confront the old adage, you're not a real champion until you've defended your title successfully. Moscow, 1957. Botvinnik had just lost convincingly to Smyslov, his longtime adversary. His long-held crown was slipping through his fingers. The contests between these two men have, as of late, been going the way of Smyslov. In 1954, a 12-12 tie resulted in Botvinnik retaining the title. In 1957, however, 12.5 to 9.5, with Smyslov winning convincingly. Botvinnik, however, would not renounce his crown so easily. The pre-World War II custom of a mandatory rematch was more of a privilege than a rule with the champions of old. Lasker and Alekhine used the rule with the consent of the victor. For Capablanca, not having negotiated this before his match with Alekhine, he had to pursue Alekhine for a rematch that never happened. In 1956, FIDE allowed this rule to be formed, so Smyslov had 1 year to prepare before his mandatory rematch. After winning the title, Smyslov suffered the loss of his stepson, a chess player in his own right, and as a result of political maneuvering from Botvinnik, he had to face his opponent. Botvinnik, on his end, was being asked to let go of his claim to a rematch, citing, quote, to prevent him from additional embarrassment. Botvinnik, the old man of chess, aged 46, was 10 years older than his rival. However, even with age and life's events, and poor health from the champion, they met on March 2nd, 1958.
In 1958, Mikhail Botvinnik had the right to play a rematch against Vasily Smyslov that defeated him in the past match. According to the rules of that moment, he had the right to play again for the world title. In this game that we are going to see Mikhail Botvinnik using the white pieces manage to come with an interesting game. So let's start c4. Usually, Botvinnik plays systems, English, ready, king's Indian attack. So we have another schematic game. In this case, Smyslov used a pretty standard setup with c6. With c6 and d5, black basically is going to use a Slav scheme. In the previous match, he used the g6 move that is known as the Indian setup with the Slav formation. But in this game, we are going to see the Slav formation without the fianchetto on the keys. And basically, what black did is create a London system formation with inverted colors, followed by e6 building the pyramid. In this specific setup, this move is pretty safe because one of the downsides of the move is that b7 can be unprotected. But as this pawn is already on b3, why cannot make use of this square to put pressure on b7? So well, bishop g2, b6, bishop b2, b7, short castle, and now a6. This is a useful move because after white covered the e4 square usually with d3, the knight jump to h4 trying to win the bishop pair is a thematic idea. So basically, black is just anticipating the future plan by white. Botvinnik did d3, bishop d7, knight b2, short castle, the standard move. Okay, now we have here a3. The idea of the move is just prepare expansion. Okay, with d4 probably to enable this square for the knight. So we have a5, prophylactic move. White wants to do the expansion with b4, with a5, black just prevent that. Now queen c2. Okay, this move in a first glance looks risky because the queen is in the far end of the bishop, but really is a unique square available for the queen to be able to connect the rooks at the moment. And also in case of the capture, white have a lot of alternative ways to recapture without open the diagonal. Looks ugly, but it's perfect playable. So bishop a7, and now bishop c3, renewing the idea of do the expansion on the queens. So now black try to take the initiative, b5, takes, and here now we have b. The idea of b4 is enable the b3 square for the knight. So we have queen c7. Okay, also quite logical will be pawn takes, and knight b6, looking for the outputs on a4. Something similar happens in the game, but black incorporate this move that really is pretty logical, pinning the bishop, connecting the rooks. Now black is capturing this, okay, so I have to do something about that. With b2 reinforcing the b4 pawn and avoiding the pin. Now we have knight b6. Black is ready to take the outputs on a4 with a fork. So bishop e5, intermediate move, removing the target as well. Queen d7, knight b3. White is going to take his own outputs as well. So, bit of pawns, trade off rooks, some simplifications here, and black took the output. Queen d2, rook to the open file, rook to the open file. So until this position, the game have been very, very slow, and at the moment is absolutely balanced. The valoration of this position is completely balanced. But Botvinnik really enjoy a lot these kind of games, long games with some complex endgame position. So one of the difference in this position is that the d4 square is still available because white don't have the pawn on d4. So this square can be used by a knight, and we are going to see how Botvinnik did that in the game. So rook takes. Now the capture with the knight because the queen have to kick the pawn on d4 defended. So knight e8. Okay, this is a knight maneuver. So knight d4, okay, placing the knight in front of the most advanced pawn of the opponent used to be something good to do. King f8 and bishop h3. So in this position, uh, common idea here is try to play f5 and e5 to attack the bishop and attack the knight. But the trouble with f6, sorry, with f6 is that in case of f6, bishop h3 is very annoying, creating the intersection point, and black won't be able to capture the bishop to bishop takes on e6 check, losing the queen. So for that reason, in this position, Smyslov played the prophylactic move king to f8, preparing f6 in good condition because in that way the capture on e6 will not be with check. So now bishop h3, prophylactic move again, preventing f6 due to the capture. Bishop g8, reinforcing e6. And now knight db3, making room for the bishop to be able to regroup the bishop after f6 as far as possible to square away of the knight. Now we have here queen a7 and d4. This move is controversial because white is placing this central pawn, blocking the bishop in the long diagonal, but at the same time, white is trusting in the creation of the outputs on c5. Because once white create the outputs on c5, that output will be so annoying that basically black is going to be more or less forced to capture the knight. And after the capture of the knight, somehow white can simply recapture with the d pawn, opening the diagonal for the sniper on a1. Knight b6. Okay, queen a2. Anticipating the knight c4 move, and here finally knight c5. So we have this capture, black cannot capture with the knight due to the pin, and finally white recapture with the d pawn, removing the central pawn and activating the bishop. Again, we have a case of bishop pair advantage, but this is a long-term advantage that demands a lot of patience and also very good technique. e5, quite logical move, placing the pawns in the same corner of the enemy bishop, and d4. Okay, Smyslov continue with a good strategy, and here queen f5. With this move, white is looking for some invasion squares, and right now black did this move queen c7 to try to cover the invasion squares. Uh, Now with this move, there is a possibility to try to look for invasion squares using the e4 square, but fears. But we need to play 93 to improve the minor pieces that was in the edge of the board. And finally, after some repetitions, okay, now queen e4, looking for the invasion square in the background. Okay, so bishop f7, check, bishop e8, and now bishop d2. So white took the initiative, Here there is a very interesting variant. In here takes, and knight f4 looking for this fork, and with a very strong pressure in the position. But this pieces sacrifice no is too clear, really, very very risky. Okay, so really the move that he did is more logical. Also, there is a strong pass pawn here that black have to take into account. King e7, and now f4. This move is very important. The player that have the bishop pair should open the position, just trading pawns. Okay, now Smyslov took this outputs on e3, but really, and this move actually is a blunder because taking the outputs, he's losing the support in the central pawn, and now after takes, queen e4, this pawn basically is going to fall because it's pinned, and in case of knight c4, white can just capture the pawn on b4 due to the pin. Okay? So, well, in this position, really, the correct outputs to be taken by black will be really nice e3. Okay, threatening the pawn and also blocking the diagonal to avoid the creation of intersection points here in the center. After 93, white trade pawns opening the position, and with queen e4 start to put some pressure in the base. So there is a lot of coordination for the minor pieces. So after knight takes g2, knight takes c5, strong intermediate. Uh, Now white is preparing some discover checks. If, for example, let's say here Smyslov decided to resign. Sample variant here, let's say something like 93, trying to regroup the knight, but after 93, bishop takes e4 is uh, absolutely crushing because this knight really don't have any square available. It's trapped. Right? The unique square available at the moment is c4, but white can just capture with check. Okay, having 2 pounds of advantage and a strong uh, domination in the position.